Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And you know what? Dudu Myeni, that woman from South African Airways, she used to be the chair of South African Airways, that state-owned enterprise that has gone belly up, largely under her watch. And she's before the courts, and she's suggesting that she's broke. She hasn't got 2 pennies to rub together. What a load of crap. She just personifies the lying, corrupt incompetency of the ANC. I think we're going to call Dudu Myeni the canary in the cage when it comes to the corruption and the way the ANC have totally screwed South Africa. Totally screwed South Africa. Let me add a bit of meat to the bone, guys. You need to know more about this. Dudu Myeni insists she is unemployed. Asked why she failed to attend 5 weeks of hearings on whether she should be declared a delinquent director, the former South African Airways chairperson said she did not have the money to travel from KwaZulu-Natal to Pretoria and stay there for 6 weeks. Myeni told the North Gauteng High Court on Friday, "If I had money on my side to spend in Gauteng, it would have been easier." Myeni, who gave evidence in person for the first time on Thursday, despite Judge Ronel Tolme's repeated pleas for her to come to court, currently gets income as a director of Mangang energy distributor Semplek, because she is one of those people, those selected few in the ANC who get what's called black privilege. She's a classic example, the canary in the cage, but now she's pleading poverty. What a joke. The organization Undoing Tax Abuse, or OTA, and the South African Airways Pilots Association are trying to have Myeni declared a delinquent director, which would prohibit her from sitting on boards such as that at Semplek and the Jacob G. Zuma Foundation, which she chairs. She chairs Jacob Zuma's foundation. Wow. These snakes sleep in the same little den, don't they? What a bunch of mongrels. Anyway. OTA's advocate, Carol Steinberg, said Myeni earned 296,880 rand last year from sitting on Semplek's board. Steinberg presented an analysis showing that Myeni, who was appointed interim South African Airways chair in 2012 and chairperson in 2013, before she was removed in 2017, was paid more than 4.3 million rand by the airline. Now, we're talking about legitimate salary as the chairperson. We're not talking about all the money she stole or bribes that she took in exchange for doing deals with people in business. No. That's how the ANC work. Anyway, in 2015-16, she earned more than 1 million rand as a member of the board of South African Airways and another state-owned enterprise, Air Chiefs. In 2016-17, she made almost 1 million rand. These amounts do not include benefits such as free flights. In an earlier affidavit, Myeni claimed she did not have the money to pay for petrol to get to court. Can you believe it? You can't make this shit up. I mean, you have to be as dumb as 2 bricks to make that suggestion when you've just made hundreds of thousands of rands by being a glorified director through black privilege. It is just absolutely extraordinary. Anyway, Steinberg said, "There is a vast and material difference between an indignant defendant who cannot afford to travel from Richards Bay to Pretoria and one whose family has the means but exercises the choice not to use those means." Myeni responded, I think the version that I state remains. I am unemployed. Employment means you are guaranteed of an income every month. Myeni was clearly aggrieved that insurance company AIG was no longer paying her legal fees. She had paid for director liability insurance while she chaired at South African Airways, and the company paid for her lawyers at ENS Africa when the delinquency case first started in 2017, before it was hit by repeated delays because she didn't pitch up, did she? No. She's one of those ANC cadres who are above the law. You know, there's a lot more that we're going to be talking about on this channel in weeks to come about the judicial system in South Africa, which is completely corrupted, right to the very highest levels. Myeni said, I cannot and I could not ask my family to subsidize a case that has nothing to do with Dudu Myeni, a case that belongs to South African Airways. What? A case that belongs to South African Airways? How ridiculous. She went on to say, all the costs of this case ought to have been covered by South African Airways. Myeni suggested AIG failing to pay her legal costs was part of the same tactic that was meant to embarrass her and hurt her case. She did not elaborate. Yeah. One thing about these ANC cadres, they know they can be so slimy. And Dudu Myeni is the canary in the cage when it comes to this sort of behavior in the courts. But she went on to say, this is part of the humiliation, to say, look at her, she doesn't have money, look at her, she can't afford to go and stay in Gauteng for 5 weeks for the case. I'm sorry guys, I just squirm when I hear this crap coming out the mouths of the ANC corrupt officials. Just disgusting. Steinberg, however, read correspondence from AIG that pins the blame squarely on the former South African Airways chair for having to foot her own legal bills. Myeni's AIG contract required her to inform and get approval from the insurance company before incurring any legal costs and involve its attorneys in each step of the legal journey. When she fired ENS Africa, she didn't inform AIG, and they invoked the clause, meaning Myeni would be responsible for her own legal expenses. Steinberg said, you simply didn't do what AIG asked you to do. You know why? Because she's dumb as two fat, heavy bricks. Nothing there, missing in action. And she was the chair of South African Airways. Go figure. This is how crazy South Africa is. Talk about incompetence. Forget the corruption. Talk about incompetence. She can't even read a document and inform an insurance company about what she's up to. And here she's supposed to be running a major airline in Africa. My God. Myeni claimed she had never had any contact with the insurance company and did not receive its correspondence. Yeah, she didn't read it. She repeated that she never expected she would have to pay such expenses and may not have taken the South African Airways position had she known Outer would one day bring her to court and she would be personally liable. Now, you know, it's really interesting. We talk about the cause and effect when it comes to certain members of the South African community. This is a classic example. Here she was cleaning up, destroying South African Airways, and she never thought, now hang on, this might actually come and bite me in the bum. Cause and effect. They've just got no understanding of that. Absolutely nothing. Diddly squat. The former chairperson previously asked the court to include all the South African Airways board members she served with, and she often referenced collective responsibility on Friday. Steinberg said Ota believed other board members should also be held liable, but due to resource constraints and the special responsibilities placed on the chairperson, it only took Myeni to court. Myeni said regarding decisions taken over a South African Airways deal with Airbus, "It's a pity I'm answering for the board, because if they were here, they would answer for themselves." She went on to say, "When the process was unfolding, we were agreeing as a collective. We had approved it from the beginning as a collective. We had done that action sheet as a collective. There's no decision of this size that would be done squarely by one person." In 2015, South African Airways negotiated a swap deal with Airbus to transfer a 2002 purchasing agreement of A320 aircraft to a leasing agreement of A320s. If the deal was signed, South African Airways could have claimed back about 1.4 billion rand in pre-delivery payments it had already paid to Airbus, and it would avoid incurring around the same amount in impairments over the next 2 years, money which the airline did not have. The South African Airways board approved the deal in March 2015. Finance Minister Dudu Myeni approved it and called on the board to ratify the signing of the deal by 18th of September 2015. The South African CFO, or Chief Financial Officers, warned it would be disastrous if the deal fell through. After months of work, all that was needed was for the board to instruct the South African Airways CEO and Chief Financial Officer to sign the deals. But at the end of September 2015, Myeni wrote to Airbus to say the airline decided to do this transaction slightly differently and introduced an African aircraft leasing company. Now, I would love to know the backhanders that went there. And again, this is probably a classic case of black economic empowerment and shelf companies which own diddly squat, but because they're BEE compliant, can do wonderful things when they deal with state-owned enterprises run by black boards. The whole thing is so corrupt, it's just absolutely disgusting. Steinberg suggested Myeni was irresponsible and put South African Airways and the country at risk. Myeni has said the decision came from the board and not her alone, and a local leasing company was necessary to avoid costly currency fluctuations. What would she know about that? I mean, she doesn't even understand Economics 101. And here she's talking about costly currency fluctuations. Give me a break. On Friday, she asked to take the lunch break to review documents and respond to the Airbus allegations. The case continues and is expected to finish next week. All right, guys. We've got now our canary in the cage when it comes to an ANC cadre who represents the corruption, the incompetence, and the ANC government. Well, you've scored with one thing, Dudu Myeni. Congratulations. Now, please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Ring the bell for the updates. Please like this video. Please share this video. And above all, please stay safe. Bye for now.